Hello, it's the last day before summer break, so it's time to do another video. So I would like to do the joy steps today while we are practicing how to do this by proxy, which I do not have written in the book, and doing it specifically for health-related issues and feeling disconnected from God. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to try to keep this a little bit easier. So if this is not your first time, please feel free to see that the steps can be used quicker and even moved around as needed, if that's never mind. Okay, so when you are doing this as proxy, it's very much a sacrifice. So I have experienced this very differently than the way I've done proxy work in the past. This is going to be, I usually have to go through the steps for myself to be in a complete space of peace and light so that I can approach the other person with love. So if you are spiritually in someone's space, or you're testing them, or you're connecting with them, however it is that you do your energy work, if you are coming into their space and you're changing something, right? You're disrupting their safety, you're disrupting their pattern, and you're coming to help them, and they've asked for that help. Oliver, they've asked for that help. However, you are, let's say that you had a trauma, and your body's trying to keep you alive, trying to keep you safe. And so if somebody is coming and they're trying to help you release some of the anger, the panic, or the anxiety, or some of the results of that survival mechanism, your body's going to fight back and resist. And that's where a lot of people struggle to have long-term results, or being able to maintain that healing offering. And so we can't just come into somebody's space and start messing with the safety mechanism that the body offers. So let's say that you have a coping skill, right? And maybe it's not a very healthy coping skill. So maybe your coping skill is to sit and eat chocolate and watch television at the end of the day to kind of wind down. It's not bad, but it's not super healthy, right? It's not like you're doing something to elevate yourself or to really feel better in a way that is going to make you feel better long term. And so that coping skill, if you just come and start releasing things, the person can grab on almost as though they're drowning. Like, I need this to survive. So we need to be really aware of the person's needs rather than what I want to do. So if I'm spiritually observing that somebody is, I don't know, in the presence of a departed loved one, that offers them that security and that safety. It could be a good influence. It might not be a great influence. It might be a combination of the two. And so it's that person's direction. For them, it is their safety. So we don't want to alter their safety mechanisms. What we want to do is we want to go in and we want to create safety. And so if you come into their space wanting to change things, move things, release things, it can cause a person to flare up. And the way that God does it with us is he creates safety with love. So when you come into somebody's space and you are in total peace, so your life is balanced and organized, your inner peace is strong, and you're resonating love, then that person opens up because they feel safe. They feel understood. They feel heard. And when it comes to the proxy aspect of it, when they feel that safety, rather than just changing somebody else, we actually experience it as though we are them, as though we are the same person. So you might actually have the same symptoms, the same panic, the same anxiety, the same depression. This is actually going to help you to do so much more when you're helping somebody. And so it's harder. I've had to start making my sessions full day sessions, where each one is like a whole day. I've taken off the whole hour at a time thing because it doesn't work anymore. Now, you can still do quick little adjustments. I don't want to say you can't do your job if you don't do one session for a whole day, because that might not be financially possible for some of you that do this for work. But what I'm trying to say is it's the most beneficial if you're able to fully become one with them. I have not figured out how to do it fast. If you can practice it enough where you can do it quickly, fantastic. For me, I take my time. So to each his own. You very well could do it in a quick, Christ was able to do it quick. So I'm not able to quite yet, but that's just me. Okay. So when you fully connect with somebody and you're sacrificing your comfort, you're opening up yourself and they are opening up themselves. And sometimes I have to wait for the other person to open. So sometimes I will create that safety and share that love and wait for the other person to open up and choose to let me in. And then once I become one with them and I start experiencing it and I feel it, I'm able to help walk them through it while recognizing, wait, this isn't working. This step isn't working. Because I can feel it within me or I can see it. So we want to use visual as best as possible. We're not just reading something. Sometimes I know that we have if I just use the intention, or if I just read it and have the intention. You can approach it however works for you. For me, it works best to see it, feel it, experience it. When I see it, I'm able to, it teaches my brain. It helps my body to receive that hormonal adjustment. And I'm sharing it and doing it for the other person. And what's amazing is when I do it this way, they're feeling the complete miracle as though they are me. And I think that's absolutely phenomenal. When we are dealing with a health issue, it's going to be a little bit different. So when I'm talking about this session with it being health related as proxy, I'm going to be talking about it as though it's me, because that's how I'm doing my proxy work. I'm actually this person. I'm actually this other person that I'm helping. Okay. It also helps them to really feel safe and understood. So let's say that we have a health issue. And let's just go with the most recent one that I was talking about with somebody earlier today. And it's blood pressure, anxiety, just more along the lines of how the body responds to stress hormonally and how blood pressure tends to be the result. And on that same topic, that it's really hard to maintain the amazing love and light that we can get when we do the joy steps, and realizing that I have to do them daily, often. Maybe not every day, but pretty close to every day and often, because I do it for other people too. So I'm doing the steps every day, but for myself, like, I'm constantly finding thoughts that are bringing me disruption to that peace and that light and that love. And so I need to stop and I need to work on each of those thoughts. And so I hold myself to a very high standard based on how glorious I know this shift feels. So when you do this process, it can be, I've actually worked on the Joy book online where I've made the expectations extremely clear, and and shown in the little joy motivational end of each section, little topic, how they change, how they naturally will change. You don't even have to force it. It's like the belief that living the higher law and having all of your thoughts worthy of God is just too hard. And it's like, well, yes, it is, but God has set this up so that it comes natural. It comes really easy. So this process is quite glorious. If you are thinking that end of times, tribulations, wars right around the corner, and when those tribulations hit, it's going to be too late to then try to figure out what to do and just rely on the way that your personal revelation has always been. So the way that your personal revelation has always been is perfect for your journey. However, it's time to keep moving forward. It's time to increase it. So these steps will increase it significantly. You're going to be like, I thought I was connected to God. I thought I had amazing spiritual gifts. Now that I've done these steps, oh my goodness, it is night and day. There's so much more. I can't even imagine how much more there can be because it's such an increase. So I need to do those steps because I need to rebalance myself after a session, and I just completed a big one yesterday, and I'm feeling a disconnection from the light within me, the light and the love and the peace and the joy, and I need to find that again. And I was talking to somebody about health related issues earlier this morning, so let's do it. Okay, so hopefully you're still watching. So I always like to have some tea in the morning. So when we start, if I try to keep this super simple and basic, with the expectations being the first step of section 1, it's under title Resistance. The expectations can be seen whatever clicks in your head. It could be your beliefs. It could be your limiting beliefs. It could be the perspective that you have of the trials and the way life should have been. My therapist always says, I should have all overed myself. So it's those should haves. I should have had this. I should have done this. I should this. It can be seen as like the life that you covet. It could be seen as my will versus God's will. It could be seen as hope and faith, but isn't producing results. So when you have a very real trial, trauma experience, let's say blood pressure's high, stress is high, a million kids are wanting a million things from you, and you're trying to keep the house clean, trying to get work done, trying to do everything, and you're just stressed out. Like, what am I going to do about it, right? And then my blood pressure goes up, and it feels like this impossible cycle to get out of. So the experience is very real. It's solid, it's stable, it's real. Your body will respond to that experience with a survival mechanism. So fight, flight, freeze, fawn. So you could absolutely kind of shut down, right? To reboot. You could get upset because you're not able to actually do what you want to do. And then there's this hormonal or emotional response, and that could be the anxiety, the stress, the panic, the worry, the fear. And all of those are very, very real. The only thing that's not real was the originating expectation. And it doesn't matter how wonderful it sounds. It can absolutely sound like, but I wanted today to go great. I wanted to go take the kids to the park. Wanted to get the house clean. I wanted to have energy. I wanted to do a picnic for Memorial Day, for Mother's Day. I wanted to read my scriptures. I wanted to do a video for the Spirit Code group. There's all of these I should have, would have, I want to do. And so these are the expectations. These are the things that sound perfectly good. But it's the only thing that you didn't get. You did get the busy, stressful day. You did get the survival mechanism. You did get the anxiety and the stress. The only thing you didn't get was the great day that you had planned, all of the things that you wanted to do. And so it can be really difficult to understand what the expectation is, but you don't really need to know a lot in order for this step to work. You do not need to know the exact words. This isn't about muscle testing what it is. This is about getting close to the thoughts in your mind, being aware of the thoughts in your mind. So if I'm trying to figure out my expectation, okay, then I'd be like, okay, feeling really stressed out, I'm feeling really anxious, my blood pressure is up, I'm feeling disconnected from God. So if this is me or I'm doing it for somebody else, I'm experiencing it the exact same way. It might be a little bit different when I'm doing it by proxy because I don't have all of the kids while they're at school. They'll be here tomorrow. I don't have the same stress, but I feel everything the same. So my blood pressure might not actually go up, but I can feel all of the same experiences that my client is feeling. And I really see this to be a gift because it makes the results, it helps them to not feel like they're alone. It's like what Christ did. He was just amazing at helping us to feel like he's going through it with us. And so because of it, we felt safer, we felt understood. So when we do that for each other, because we're supposed to love each other the way that God loves us, then going through the busy day and the blood pressure and feeling disconnected from God, like, what am I supposed to do? I have no available free time. That's the point. I don't have time to work on myself. I don't have time to open up the Joy Manual, do energy work, or pull up somebody's protocol, or go through somebody, like there's so many different energy protocols that are out there. And I really want you to get the best bang for your buck. I want you to get the results that you're trying to get or trying to seek. And these expectations are just going to mess you up every single time because it's going to re-flare everything right back up. And so what I love is once we get to a certain point, then if you do, what is that one? It's like quing, I don't know what I can't say it, but it's a beautiful healing technique. There's a bunch of beautiful healing techniques, like if you're going to do Reiki, if you're going to do any of the other techniques that are out there to work with energy, you're going to actually get more results. Now, we're not going to release anything because releasing was shown to me that it's like plucking out the feathers on a bird. It's going to make it impossible for you to fly if you're taking things out. We're going to learn how to work with what we do have in order to actually use that as strength. So it's challenging. When God taught me this, it was extremely challenging for me to accept because it's different, but it's the same result, if not better. So it's really just a tool in your toolbox that you can use when you're working on yourself or you're helping somebody else to get more improvement. So when the day is super, super busy, lots going on, right? And you're like, oh my goodness, I feel like I'm going to have a meltdown. Like I feel it in my stomach when I get really, really anxious, like panicky, that there's 100 things coming at me all at once. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't do it. Like I can't even finish a thought in my head because I can't, it can be really, really difficult. And so if I'm getting into that space and I'm in that space, what do I do? Okay. And if I'm doing this for somebody else, what do I do? And if I'm sitting there like, I just need to overcome this panic, the panic is natural. It's the result of what you're experiencing, what you can't change, the result of the other people in your life needing your attention. And so we love those people. And unless you're going to make some huge changes in your life, quit your job, divorce your husband. Ollie, stop. It's always got to be a noise somewhere, right? Ollie, come here. Unless you're going to make some major changes. Okay. Hopefully nobody's coming to the door. He thinks he's so big. So unless you're going to like quit your job or make some other massive changes, See, this is why I don't ever get to film videos. There's some reason why I don't have a quiet house. I'm very sorry. Let me see what he's doing, and we can get him to calm down. Nobody's outside. See? Nobody's there. It's okay. Yep. Nobody's there. Calm down. Okay. So everybody else is gone and asleep, then the dog gets to act up. So I apologize. That doesn't make the video very professional. Okay, so the only thing that isn't real is that expectation. It's the only thing that I can actually change. Everything else is outside of my control, outside of my power. So we're just going to close our eyes and get in touch with the feeling. You don't need the exact words. Sometimes, as you advance yourself, or if you find that there's a few that are remaining that you just can't get over, you might need to get a little bit more clear with what your thoughts are. So if I'm trying to figure it out, my thoughts are, I had so many things that I wanted to do. I should have been able to get the house clean. I should have been able to get the errands run and the groceries purchased. And I should have done some school time with the kids. And I just let them watch television. And I'm still so overwhelmed. And I should have been able to get some energy work done on myself. I should have been able to film a class. I should have been able to, read my scriptures and maintain that beautiful light and love that I was feeling yesterday. I should have been able to do all of these things, and I lost it, and I failed, and now I feel like a big fat failure, and I feel overwhelmed, and I'm angry, and I'm stressed out, and I'm panicking because I can't live up to my own expectations for myself. And so, okay, what's really causing me the misery? It's really not spending time with my kids. It's not all of the busyness and the chaos of stuff of life. It's the fact that I'm not getting done what I wanted to get done. I'm not getting what I wanted. I'm not creating what I wanted. I'm not living up to my potential. I'm feeling that disconnection. Like I just start to feel sadder and sadder. It's like the negative. I'm not feeling God. I'm not feeling light. I'm not feeling love. Instead, I'm feeling sick. I'm feeling like I can't do this. I feel like it's too hard. Like it snowballs. Do you see how easy it is for those thoughts, those beliefs, those expectations to just become yuck? It just becomes yuck. So let's get rid of the yuck. I can't keep the expectation and get rid of I feel depressed. I'm going to release those feelings of depression because I really didn't meet those demands or those potentials, and I still don't feel that light, and I still don't. So your body is going to resist the process. So we just okay, I'm in touch with what I'm feeling. I'm in touch with what's going on in my head and all of the yucky thoughts and what it's doing in my body. That's the important part of the first step. So I'm just going to see myself and going to an altar. Ideally, see yourself, seeing yourself, this is important, not just the intention. If you can get the same results with the intention, great. I don't. I need to actually see it. I need to actually go through it. So I need to actually see myself. Now, I don't have to see myself 2,000 years ago as the widow doing the widow's mite at the temple. That might be too complicated to be able to visualize and see. But it's whatever really works in your head, as we are essentially just taking an altar. This is the best altar I've got. And we're taking money, because money is something you don't have. Money is just a coin. This isn't anything but a piece of silver or a piece of paper for a dollar bill. All money is what it could become, what you could trade it for, what you could purchase with that money. So the money really isn't anything. I could have millions of dollars and it isn't a house. It isn't food. It's just coins. So if we were in an economy where money no longer had value, $1 million would have no value anymore. So an expectation is something that you want that you don't have. And it could even be something that you don't want. It could be like, I'm terrified that everything is going to go bad. I'm terrified that I'm going to have a heart attack if my blood pressure stays up. And so the more I'm terrified about that, and the more that I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm going to get cancer. I'm going to have a stroke. I'm not going to be able to raise my children. I'm not going to be able to take care of them because I can't seem to meet all of the needs that everybody has of me. So it can absolutely be a negative thing too. It doesn't really matter how it's showing up. It's still the story that's in your head. It's still the thoughts. It's still the expectation word is just the best word I like to use, but you can use whatever word. That's why I changed it to resistance. Because it doesn't have to be labeled an expectation. If to you, it's your story. But your story a lot of times is interconnected with reality. This is not reality. This is what I'm afraid of or what I think should have happened in the past that didn't happen. Or what I think should happen tomorrow as long as I do everything right. If I do everything exact today, then tomorrow will be better. So we're just going to, because God's the one that's going to make you feel better, okay? You're going to detach, because saying, I put down my expectation of everything being perfect and me being able to meet all the demands and expectations of everybody else around me and me being a good mom. This is the expectation that I'm going to be a good mom. Like, that's just not going to work, because then we just feel terrible about ourselves. You're just making yourself feel worse and worse and worse. But if you're just like, okay, I know what I'm feeling. I'm going to just take all of these expectations to the altar and give them to God. So tithing is something we give to God. So don't get all all confused with it being a religion thing. Let's just keep it as this is something we give to God. I'm giving God something of this world, something I want. This represents something I want. I'm going to just give it to God. And I'm going to just place it on an altar as a sacrifice. And I'm just going to give God all these expectations regarding health, blood pressure, all the things that I want. And instead, I want to do things God's way. So I've learned doing things my way isn't working. It's making me feel really yucky, really bad. So maybe getting those things isn't going to actually make me feel better, because it's actually making me feel worse wanting those things. So instead, I'm just going to give it to God and be like, you know what, God, you're the one who makes me feel good. So maybe all of these things won't actually make me feel better. Maybe having everything perfect doesn't make me feel better, because then I'm like, oh, but what if everything goes bad tomorrow? Like, there's always going to be some way that I'm going to be stuck in this trap and in this cycle. So I would rather just do things God's way. So I'm just willingly giving up my way, everything that I want, and I'm just going to give it to God. I would rather do things God's way. Okay? And you just close your eyes and you just feel yourself doing this, see yourself doing this. And you can talk yourself through it, but don't get too wrapped up in the exact verbiage. Like, I'm just going to give all of these things away to God, because I think God's way is going to make me feel incredible. I don't really know how to create it, but God does. So when I give this to God, then once you're done giving that to God, you're going to feel different. You're going to just feel, oh, hang on. I'm not feeling that panic and anxiety. That survival mechanism and the panic and anxiety is fading. Okay? Because the busy day is still there. The chaos of everybody wanting your attention and doing a million things, that's still there. because that's reality. But all of those results were actually not tied to reality. All of that panic and anxiety and blood pressure was actually tied to not meeting those demands, not being able to experience what you wanted to experience that day. And God's the one that takes away all of those automatic responses so that you feel lighter, you feel more free. Okay, you're gonna just kind of feel, for me, it kind of feels tender. Tender is probably my best word, because we're not getting rid of faith and hope. We're just learning how to have faith and hope in the right direction. Because unless you're moving a mountain, walking on water, and instantly healing, then we still need to learn how to do things God's way. And everything that we've done is fantastic because we're moving in the right direction. But we still need to keep moving. So let's keep moving. So the next step is the agency step, and we're just going to keep this one really, really, really easy. I have a choice, and I choose God's way. That's all. You can complicate it by going to the Garden of Gethsemane. You can complicate it by, or no, that's in the gratitude step. But you can complicate it by really learning more about the choice to come to earth, the choice in the preexistence, or Adam and Eve. But we can also keep it just super, super simple. Like, I don't feel like I have a lot of choices when there's a whole lot going on in my life. But the one choice that remains stable all the time is I choose to follow God. I choose God's way. I choose God. And then we can move on to the next step. And the next one is going to be that gratitude. And this is the one where you can do grounding exercises. You can do spiraling gratitude. You can do anything, but you don't really feel a lot of gratitude. It's really a matter of connecting to God. Because like in the Garden of Gethsemane, I have the hardest time pronouncing that word, we can absolutely take some time to go there. If you're having a really hard day, you can take some time to spiritually connect with God when he's there, because he's there experiencing everything with you. So if we don't share everything with him, he's not actually offering us, like, we're not appreciating his sacrifice. We're not utilizing what's available. And the healing that he is offering, but it's really hard to let him in. And so it can be an opportunity to connect with Christ. But you can also make this step really easy, where it's just, I'm grateful for God. I'm just grateful that he loves me, that he's always teaching me, that he hasn't given up on me, that he hasn't seen my inability to maintain the light and the love that he has shared with me as a sign of failure, that instead he's like excited to keep loving me. And even if I do stuff that I know I shouldn't do, he still loves me. He never gives me that, Melissa, come on now, you know better. You shouldn't be doing that. Okay, I'm going to remove my light from you as grounding for a little while. Like, you're grounded. He just doesn't do any of that. He just loves. And I'm grateful for God's love. It's my stability. It's my rock. It's my foundation. And I want you to understand that when it comes to different religions, different perspectives of God, different political parties, different all of this stuff, I'm actually working on learning the unification step in section 4. And I feel like it's kind of associated with this, that we all have different beliefs, and God loves us all. He's not going to sit there and say, no, and Aaron and Sandy are logged on right now, so Aaron and Sandy, you're wrong. Melissa's right. Do it Melissa's way. Like, no, that's not how God works. God loves us in the way that we can feel his love, the way that we can connect with him. So your experience with God might be very, very different. Therefore, when you're talking to somebody and they're sharing their experience with God. And if it's very different from yours and you're like, oh, I think it's deception, be very, very careful, because that's their connection to God. That's their truth. And if they're seeking God, that's what matters. The importance isn't who's right and who's wrong. The importance is being loved, feeling connected, progressing, moving forward. Like, everybody's on a different journey with different goals. If my goal is goal number 3, and Sandy's goal is goal number 10, and Aaron's goal is goal number 62, like, it doesn't matter what the numbers are. It's not order of importance. It's different goals, different plans, different purposes. So not only are your experiences different, but the path to get there is going to be very different. So your understanding of God can be different. So God is the same, but it's like communication. When I'm communicating with somebody, I might use words, I might use touch, I might use writing, I might read, I might use sign language. But it's still communicating. It's still connecting with somebody else. Where, like, same with the alphabet. The alphabet is the same. The purpose of the alphabet is to write your words, your thoughts, to read your word, other people's words and thoughts. But the alphabet can be in Braille. It can be in English. It can be in sign language. It can be in Japanese, where it's symbols and it's going the opposite direction. And it might not look anything like my alphabet. And so it's okay for it to be different, because that is how each person communicates and interacts and is able to express themselves. And so God is very similar, where the communication, the connection, the feeling, the purpose is still the same. The alphabet, the mode of being able to interact is still going to be, written or reading or touching or speaking or hearing. It's still going to be a way that we communicate. However, it's going to be experienced very differently based on the person. So God is like the communication. God is that remains stable. Like the interacting, connecting, hearing, listening, feeling, that's the stable God. If I'm using a parable or a symbolism, God would be the communication or the alphabet, whereas the way that it is learned is going to be different based on the person. So that's where God is the same, but the experiences can be very, very different. So if somebody is sharing that they, there was something that I was just recently learning where it's, God is all around. God is the universe. God is love. He's not a being. And so that is that person's experience, because they have a science brain, and that's how they connect with God. For me, that doesn't feel good. For me, I need that daddy type of love. And what's interesting is that both can be true, because, and that's hard for me to understand, because God loves us so much that he is able to connect with us. Like, that's just one angle. So if one person is connecting with him as energy, that's not all. So if it's me, I'm not only love. I'm not only communication. I'm not only, I don't know, what I create. Okay. I'm more than that. There's more to me. There's a whole personality. There's a whole person here. So if we're breaking down, like, God's light, God's love, God's this, God's that, like, we're just breaking down little bits and pieces. So he'll teach us the bits and pieces, but there's still a bigger picture. So everybody can be right, but only with a little piece of the puzzle. Does that make sense? Like, God's the whole picture in the puzzle, and each of us may only be able to see a piece. And so if this person's piece and this person's piece is very different, it's still the same puzzle. So it's about learning how to come together, respect each other, love each other. And we can feel gratitude for that. And when you see somebody else struggling with that, love. Love is the answer. It is always about love, because that is how God taught you. That's how he taught me. That is how he helps us to feel safe and to open up and to learn and grow and to do better. So we're going to do that at the end of these steps. I'm going to get you to that love space where we can feel that beautiful purity of love. So this video is not going to just stop at the end of section 2 in the Joy Book. We're going to do a little bit of section 3 and a little bit of section 4. Not all of it, because all of it's too much all at once. I've learned it's too much. So we're going to break it up. So section 1 and 2 need to be done together, but 3 and 4 broken up. Okay. So let's just say gratitude for God's love. He's amazing. Okay. Okay. So the next step, acceptance. Being able to accept reality. This is a really hard one. So reality is the busy, crazy day, the blood pressure, the stress, the kids coming out of the walls, and maybe not having the energy, and still having a lot to get done. Even if you gave up those expectations of what you should have been able to do, there's still a list of things that need to get done, right? You still need food, you still need the dishes done, stuff like that. So this is going to be our cross, the blood pressure, however it's showing up, feeling stressed out that there's so much to do. So this is the part that we want to, so the mind sees, right, the modes of communication that I was talking about, like the mind sees and has evidence from life, from what's going on. So you kind of need to create that evidence with visual. So your mind needs to see. So when I said intention's not quite enough, I mean, that's my truth. If it's your truth, I don't know. You'll have to give it a shot and see if it works as well. For me, my truth is that my brain is processing all of these things in life, and the cellular memory is associated with the stress, the panic, the anxiety, the old expectation. I need to recreate a whole new reality, a whole new understanding and perspective of the world while going through the chaotic stuff. So seeing it is helping my mind to see things differently, helping me to see God in everything, helping me to, and when I say see God in everything, I mean, like, if you're struggling, if you are watching a movie with your family, if you are looking outside at the clouds, like, you can connect with God no matter what you're doing, and you can feel God's love. You can almost like learn, oh, that's what God's trying to teach me, or oh my goodness, I feel like just looking at the clouds helped me to understand more about the story of creation. And so you can connect with God more easily when we are doing these steps with experiences from the scriptures. It's going to help you to connect with God. So we also need to disconnect from the intensity of reality, because the brain is going to resist. So this is extremely successful, seeing it as a cross. So I've got all of these struggles. It's heavy, it's burdensome. It represents your mortality, the struggles, your limitations, your inability to be superwoman at all times. You want to be superwoman for your family, but it's extremely challenging. And your body is not cooperating. Your body is feeling tired and sick and weak, and your heart is like telling you, hey, this is too much. And so we really want to embrace that. We really want to embrace the fact that my body's communicating. My body's trying to tell me something. My body's designed perfectly by God. So if my body's trying to communicate something, I want to learn how to listen so that I can work with God, because God's the one that's going to offer the healing. So if I've been working in opposition to God, like I've been trying to, with my son, with his hearing loss, I've been trying to do everything medically, energetically, spiritually to fix his hearing loss, and it's just not getting better. And then I do the joy steps on myself, and then I got to the point realizing why he has hearing loss and that it is exactly the way it needs to be. And then I was able to willingly accept it. But it was really hard to accept it until I understood. And you can't jump to that connection with God where we are now, because right now we're too trapped by our own limitations. It's like the power of deception in your mind, that if you have all these limitations, then you're not really receiving clear inspiration. So it's like at the beginning, your personal revelation or your answers to your prayers is going to be the way it's always been, which is typically like that burning in your bosom, or just receiving a little bit of an inspiration or impression here and there, being able to have spiritual, intuitive opportunities, but you're still not, you don't really have anything to compare it to. You don't realize that it could be better, right? And so it's really hard if I'm telling you, hey, it can get better. Do the steps, and your revelation, your spiritual connection, your understanding, your connection with God is going to increase tenfold. You don't have evidence yet. So me telling you this is trying to help you to understand that we are usually trying to do something, and it's like, why, when I have all this faith, am I not moving a mountain? Why is everything so hard? What am I missing? This is it. So do these steps, and you'll be able to have that connection with God the way that you want to have that connection with God. Like, I didn't write this. This is all God teaching me things that I was like, that's not going to work. And then, oh my goodness, that worked. Oh, okay. So let's just do it, because this is jaw dropping how well it works. I mean, what are you going to lose? Right? It's already happening. The trials are already there. The suffering is already there. The blood pressure is already there. The difficulties with your kids, the stress around the house, the messy house, whatever. It's already there. So what does it hurt to just accept that it's reality? That's what we're doing. We're just accepting reality in this step. And there's lots of good steps. So this is not like a hopeless, oh, well, I just have to give up hope. Absolutely not. This is just, I have to grin and bear it. Absolutely not. Okay? If you're at physical therapy, we're never going to be able to get off this exercise if you don't cooperate with the therapist. If God's the therapist, let's just learn how to cooperate. The trial's there. There's a reason. There's a purpose. Your experiences in life are not just a big fat mistake. Like, this is what God is teaching you. There's a reason. So let's just accept that it's reality. So the cross is already there. It's heavy. This is really heavy. It's burdensome. And Christ had to carry his cross too. So this is also disconnecting from the yucky challenges in life, but seeing that these challenges exist. This busy, chaotic day, so you want to just kind of close your eyes and you want to connect it. This busy, chaotic day, and the stress and the panic and the anxiety and the worry and all of the stuff on my to-do list, it's just reality. It's just here. And I know we got rid of a lot of that panic and anxiety with the expectations, but that doesn't mean you're fully over it, okay? It's still like the busy day and all the demands are still there. The blood pressure is still an issue. There's still issues that are going to cause the same results. So we have to keep going. So the cross is there. It exists. This is just an acceptance space. It's there. I don't like it, but it's there. So just close your eyes. all of these trials, it's just my cross. It's what I'm carrying, and it's really hard. It's hard. This is where you want to connect with your client. It's hard. The more that you feel this, and you don't just look at them like, okay, let's just work on releasing that so that you feel better. And it's like, no, this is hard. Let's just feel how hard this is for a little while, because they feel alone. You feel alone. We all feel alone in this journey. And that's not the way that is going to help you to connect with God, feeling alone. So that aloneness is going to need to change as we do these steps, and we're going to get there. So this cross step, while you're carrying it, and you like, it could feel like you're falling. It could feel like this cross is 1,000,000 pounds. It could feel like you're carrying the whole family on your back. It could feel like you dropped it and you're on the ground crying. Whatever you're seeing is your truth. So be there, be present. Just see yourself spiritually, close your eyes, visualize. This is me. This is me. This is my life. This is where I am. It's not where I'm always going to be, but it's where I am today, right now. So you're not alone, though, because Christ carried his cross. So just stop worrying about the weight. It's there. It's going to be heavy. No matter what, the cross is there. Turn your head and focus on God. The scriptures tell us to look towards God first, right? So just turn and stop thinking about it. Look at God. Look at Christ. He's walking, carrying his cross too. So just close your eyes and look at him. Reach out and hold his hand. Okay? Accepting his help, loving him, sharing with him, sharing what you're feeling, but not dumping it on him, but doing it together. This is a together step. And when you do this together step, this is going to change. You're going to feel this change. It's either going to turn spiritual and no longer look so physical, meaning it's going to turn into white light, or it might release off your back. It still exists. The trial, it's not like all of a sudden the dishes are done. But the burden is gone. And so when you just accept that it's there, God is the one who offers you the freedom from that. It no longer feels like a burden. Okay? So now those expectations are changing and you're starting to feel hopeful. You might kind of start to feel a little bit like, okay, this has changed. I'm not feeling all that yuck anymore. This is feeling better. I don't feel joy. I don't feel light, and I'm not healing yet. My blood pressure is still a problem, but I'm not feeling all the other yuck. And all I did was paid tithing and carried my cross. And it's working. So as opposed to like dealing with all the different emotions and energies and traumas and spending countless hours, we're just visualizing doing these steps. And you can do them faster and faster as you need, but also recognize if you go too fast, it might not work, because you have to actually really feel it and see it and experience it. Those senses are really important. Okay, I think it's just not coming out. Okay, so the next step, we do the 10 Commandments. But it's more than just the 10 Commandments. It's really anything that Christ has asked us to do that we struggle doing. So loving one another, forgiving one another. if you go to my church, then it would be like law of sacrifice, law of consecration, word of wisdom, law of chastity, like just some additional stuff. If you are holding yourself to like the higher law, it would be, and this is explained in the 4th section, so I'm not going to go into it in depth right now, but where the higher law is taught within the lower law. So the higher law is taught with it. So the 10 Commandments actually have the higher law in there that God can show you and teach you as your perspective is shifting and changing. And it makes both true, where it's kind of like a parable or symbolism, has multiple interpretations, and not one is right and wrong. They're all right. And so it's the same idea where we are able to improve ourselves. So whatever you're working towards, if you're really working on being in a higher degree of glory for Christ to return, which is what I'm working on, I want to be able to live and maintain that same light and lifestyle that Christ has taught us at all times, so that I can live with him when he returns, rather than being in this lower degree of glory. So it just depends on where you are. If you're still struggling with the 10 Commandments, then this is the 10 Commandments. It doesn't matter. We do not have to get stuck, especially if you're doing this by proxy. You're not going to look at somebody's sins. You're not figuring out these details. This is done as a broad spectrum intentionally, if you're doing this by proxy, so that you're just laying down any broken commandments that person's spirit is ready to have cleansed. Simple. For you might hold yourself to a higher, explanation. Like, I was really prideful, and I don't feel like I was honoring this particular commandment. I was feeling really angry the other day, and I feel like I was not honoring this other commandment. And so these palm leaves, we're still walking to Calvary with Christ. So near the top of that hill, once you feel that the time is ready and these palm leaves are there, like a palm leaf is broken off a tree. It's no longer on a tree, right? They're just leaves. And these leaves can't live for very long once they're taken off the tree. So they are broken. So similar to a broken commandment. And when we lay it at the Savior's feet, he is what brings them back to life. And then once they come back to life, you can hold them and keep them, keeping those commandments, cherishing them, but they become part of you. It's like grafting. So in order to actually graft these back in, all you need is the desire to keep the commandments. That's it. So we're not going to focus on the grafting at all. We are just going to focus on keeping them, loving them, cherishing them. I want to do better. That's all. It's not, I will never mess up. I will never eat junk food and watch television and waste time ever again. No, I will. But God's patient with me. He understands. He knows that we're doing our best. We're trying. Okay? So these palm leaves can be a beautiful, beautiful step. And it is a surrender. Like, I surrender. I'm sorry. I broke these. I surrender. My ways are... I'm trying. And I messed up again, and I need your help. So I surrender. And I realize I can't make these come back to life. I tried. It's not helping. I'm not feeling safe. I'm not feeling God's light and love and protection. I know I messed up. I don't even know how to use the atonement. I need help, right? So that's what we're doing. These steps are using the law of sacrifice, using the atonement, and learning how to attune with God and cooperate with God in order to actually begin living in a higher manner and experiencing all the miracles that we're wanting. If we're trying to get a miracle when we are not in a space of pure light, you can't force that light. We have to create cleanliness to get to that space of light, but it's really hard because it's not like I'm trying to break these. I'm just human. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I'm not trying to not forgive or not love or be lazy. I'm just human, and it just keeps happening. So I need God's mercy, and I need his help, and I want to feel his love, and I can't feel his love if I've broken anything that he has asked me to do to stay in a space of peace. And because this is really just about practicing and growth and progression, then it's okay. I'm not being judged. I'm not a bad sinner with this step. I'm just willingly using the atonement to cleanse myself to be free so that I can actually connect with God. Isn't that what he wants? He wants to connect with me. That's the point. So you just close your eyes and you put down those palm leaves, and Christ will walk over them. So when I say close your eyes, you want to see this as best as possible, because it's beautiful when you get to see it. So Christ is going to walk over them, and once he has, you pick them up and you just hold them, cherish them, love them. I'm going to try to do better. I probably will still eat junk food today, but I'm trying. I'm doing better and better. I'm laying down less and less palm leaves each day that I practice, and I'm doing better. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for loving me. Okay. So once we reach the top of Calvary, we do the hardest, most excruciating step, and it's so challenging because it's not like I'm trying to sin. It's not like I'm even working on sin. I did get angry because my kids were demanding all of my attention, and I did feel like what I wanted to do was more important. So pride, I felt like what I wanted to do was more important than what they wanted or needed at that time. I felt like my way was the right way, so I was working in opposition to God. I was angry at the boss or the husband or whatever because they were mean, and they lost their temper with me, and then I lost my temper, but it's not my fault. And it's like I know, but we still have the yuck of that anger. That anger is still, and that pride and that disconnection is all still there. And so we don't have to have done anything really nasty to feel the weight of the darkness that the adversary has, that power. And just casting him out is just very minimal. We're talking just dealing with the spiritual influence, not dealing with how you really feel. It would be like if somebody was yelling at you and screaming at you, and you're crying because it hurts, and then they leave. They're gone. You still hurt. So this is the still hurt. Okay? Let's deal with the I'm still hurt. I'm still angry. I still feel like a victim. I still feel unsafe. So this is just one of the steps. You are only responsible for what anger you experienced. You are only responsible for what pride. So we got the 7 deadly sins, any of the broken commandments. You're responsible for your stuff. They're responsible for their stuff. Even if your stuff is very little and their stuff is very big, your very little is still blocking your ability to feel peaceful and that light and love from God. So let's just deal with it. Whatever it is, let's deal with it. Okay? So we go to the top of Calvary. This part might make you feel extremely weepy and humble, because it's hard to imagine that I need to surrender. The perspective is typically I need to be rescued, not that I need to surrender. And that's so challenging. So we're just going to do this, whether your client needs it or not, whether you think you need it or not. You might not think you need it. And if your spirit just won't do this step, okay, keep going. At some point you'll be ready. It's okay. Don't hold yourself to an expectation that you can't meet. Just do what you can, okay? If you can do this step, you're going to feel the light start to come back into your life. So how do you get rid of darkness? Do you get rid of darkness by constantly getting rid of darkness and cleaning up the darkness? Or do you get rid of darkness by turning on the light? We're turning on the light. So let's just turn on the light. It's hard. Okay, it's okay to cry with these steps. So my kids have been a pain in the butt. Yeah, you can. Yeah. My kids have been demanding. I have all these things that I need to do, and my body is just not doing them. And so I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling prideful, like all of my stuff is more important than everybody else's stuff. I can't seem to forgive people. I'm not feeling love. That's number one commandment, is to love everybody as God loves us. Are you feeling love? I'm not right now. So let's take it to the cross. I broke a commandment. It's a commandment to love. Oh my goodness. I wasn't trying to break a commandment by not loving all day and everybody. Like, it's so hard. I'm trying so hard, I promise. But you know, your sin might be a bigger, not so refined. You might be like, I'm not ready for that one, Melissa. That's okay. Work on what you are ready for. Work on just the 7 deadly sins. Okay, work on any of the 10 commandments. It doesn't matter what you're taking to the cross. And if you're doing this by proxy, just keep it with the 7 deadly sins. If you are doing this for yourself and you want to get more specific, go for it. This one, you close your eyes and you see Christ is on the cross. This is my anger. I surrender my anger. You drive that nail through his hand. I surrender my pride. Drive that nail through his wrist. I surrender my laziness. Please free me of my gluttony and my slothfulness. All of it needs to be taken to the cross to be conquered. You just can't conquer that anger on your own. You got to take it to the cross, okay? So we take it to the cross and I surrender each of the 7 deadly sins, any of the broken commandments. I surrender the fact that I'm struggling so much to forgive, that I'm struggling so much to love. I surrender sorry, the lighting is messing up on my phone. I surrender just period. I surrender and just take it to the cross, okay? And then, I don't know, my lighting is all messing up. I'm sorry. And then what's beautiful is that Christ overcomes it on your behalf as proxy. So if you believe that you're able to feel emotions with other people, if you believe that you're able to do energy work for somebody else and act as proxy and experience it with them, then you can also believe that Christ died on your behalf, that he conquered all of those dark emotions that are keeping you trapped, like the anger, the pride. It's the 7 deadly sins and the broken commandments. So he's the only one who can conquer it for you. But we have to surrender it at the cross. And then he has to actually die to break that path. But he's already done it, right? Path meaning the cycle that has you stuck. But what's beautiful is when he's on the cross, he's going to say, just before he dies, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. So think about this differently. Father, forgive them so that they no longer feel trapped. Forgive them so that they no longer have the memory of the darkness. Because like the memory of that darkness, the intensity of that darkness keeps you in darkness. So free them. Like forgiveness is freedom. So Father, forgive them, free them so that they no longer know the grief and the pain of what they've done. Okay, so like knowing something is fully experiencing it. And what they do could be anything that is mortal and limited that needs to be conquered on the cross. So Father, like free them, so that they no longer know this pain and this punishment that they've been experiencing. And then when he dies, you're going to feel a change. Like, and you might be like, I don't want to do that. Well, he's already died. It's already happened. So you're not causing him more pain. If we're not doing this, we're not using his sacrifice. His sacrifice is in vain. We don't want that. Like, let's honor what he has done. Like, this is part of the design, that when we chose to come to this degree of glory, it's part of the design. So let's use it. Let's use that atonement. So when he dies, you don't have to do this. I don't always do this. You can see yourself burying the nails, burying the crown of thorns and the cross. I don't always need to do that stuff. It's really just if you feel like you need to. Okay, so when he's dead, this is the 3 days of darkness. So let's see your trials as the 3 days of darkness, just like the story in the scriptures of the apostles out at sea during the middle of a storm. And so you're alone. Christ isn't with you because he died. So you're on this boat. Now, if you're looking at it symbolically, and we are, right? This boat would be you, your body, your life. Your paddles is trying to survive, right? I'm doing everything I can to try and survive, to hold my head up, to not sink, right? And the storm is raging. The trials are still coming. The difficulties, the suffering, the struggles, the limitations of the body, the demands of other people, the financial struggles, the conflict, like it's all still there. The war, it's still there. Like it's raging, and you might feel totally alone trying to survive. So let's just be there, okay? So you've got your paddle, right? You're on your boat, and I only have visual aids, you guys, because you need this. Seeing it is a part of feeling it. So just reading it for me isn't enough. So let's do the visual aid and see it. You're in this boat. You're trying so hard. There's this big, massive storm all around. The waves are humongous. And at a certain point you realize, what good am I doing? Paddling. Like I'm trying to get to shore, but I'm only moving like an inch, and the current is like working against me, and I'm paddling and I'm only getting an inch, and I'm exhausting myself, and I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to be able to keep up this pace. It's really, really hard. And so at a certain point, we are going to just stop paddling. Okay? If there's a tornado outside, in real life, if there's a hailstorm in real life, if there's war in real life outside your door, we're going to do this. Now, if you do this in a space where you are not clean, where we haven't done the steps that we just did, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean that to be judgy. I'm sorry, it does sound judgy. I didn't mean that. But if you do this where you're not in a space where we are right now in the steps, it's actually going to flare things up worse. So you definitely need to be in a space that's good. So you might have to go back through, and don't panic. I just mean don't only do this step. Does that make sense? And I just mean don't skip everything else. You can easily, quickly just be like, okay, I'm going to go I feel like I have some expectations that this storm is going to take me down. I'm going to go put those on the altar and just accept that cross that I'm carrying. And do I have any broken commandments? Do I need to surrender anything at the cross? No, I'm good. Okay, I'm back in the boat. There we go. Easy, right? when you know the steps, you can do the steps. Knowing the steps is important. I can teach you how to do them very, very quickly, based upon that person and how much we need to actually involve ourselves in and interact with. But if we are at this step and you're feeling some of those some beliefs and expectations and should have, would have, could have popping up, deal with it really quickly. Just close your eyes. Okay, I'm going to go to the altar again and put down those expectations, and I'm just going to accept this cross. I do have a choice. I choose God. I love God. I'm so grateful for God. And I put down any broken palm leaves and I surrender at the cross. Please, please, please help me. And then you're in a good workable space, okay? If you haven't done those steps, you might want to slow down. If you're at this step and you just see a few more flaring up, you can throw a few more in, no problem. But if you haven't done it, you might need to slow down. You might not really get the benefit if you just fly through them all in like 2 minutes. So see yourself paddling at sea. You're on this boat, right? You're going to just take this paddle and you're going to just toss it overboard. I surrender. Okay? I surrender to the storm. That does not mean you surrender to the bad guy. Don't twist it, misunderstand it, misinterpret what I'm saying. I'm going to stop working against the storms of life because God is the one that's in control. So I'm going to work on my inner peace. I'm not going to focus on everything that is outside of my control. The storm, the chaos, everything happening in life is outside of your control. I'm going to just work on getting into a space of love. How can I just love? How can I find that inner peace? This step, when you've done all the joy steps in the whole book, you can really make this step incredible. But if this is your first time through, this step is simple. And we are just connecting to God. We are focusing on God. You can see yourself surrounded in like this white light or this white cloud and just loving God. Like, Heavenly Father, no matter what happens, whether I live, whether I die, whether I get sick, whether I don't get sick, whether my kids go bonkers and destroy the house, I'm choosing God. And God's all that really matters. So no matter what happens, okay. I'm totally on your side, Heavenly Father. I am with you. We are one team. I will do anything that you ask. Whatever it is that is going to happen, okay. I'm choosing your way. I'm choosing your way, God. Let's just learn. Let's grow. I want to improve and I want to learn and I want to not just get rid of all of these trials and all of these difficulties. I want to be one with God, and I want to help anybody that I can help, and I want to improve in any way that God would like to improve me, and I'm just in cooperation with the purpose. And when you do this, you start to feel very peaceful and very calm inside, and then you can realize that the storm is going away, and Christ has resurrected and is walking on water towards you. And when he does, you can get out and walk on water with him, or you can see that the storm has pushed you near shore and you can walk to shore. However you need to see it is fine. The storm might even still be raging. If there's still war outside your door, the storm is still raging. Okay, but when Christ is with you, you can still walk on water. You can still get to shore. Whether the storm is there or not, that peace is still there. Whether you survive or not, that peace and that light and that love and that connection to God is always available to you within, no matter what's happening outside of you. Okay? So when you are back on shore, Christ is going to do a sermon. And the people that are at this sermon is going to be anybody who has wronged you. Anybody who, like, these steps are so intense. I'm sorry. I hope this isn't like really hitting you hard and making life challenging for you, but they're humbling and they're hard, but they feel amazing. So we're going to stand next to Christ and face all of your enemies. It could be anybody that you feel has opposed you, who has wronged you, who has hurt you, anybody. And this isn't easy. I was talking to somebody that I love who's in my family recently, and they've done these steps and they love these steps, but they still are resisting doing this for the people that they really need to do this for. And that's okay. Do this a step at a time. Just keep practicing. Don't just do it once. Keep practicing. This is what I do all the time. So when we are facing this group of people and Christ asks you to forgive and free, you're like, but I've forgiven them. And God's like, good, you've done a great job, but we need to do a little bit more. Okay, you're still not free yourself. So when we forgive or when we love, we don't really know what it means. When you forgive somebody, it is the way that Christ said it on the cross. Forgive them, for they no longer know what they've done. Like, you are fully freeing somebody. There is no more. You literally have no connection to what they did to you and the way that they hurt you. You are just purely connecting to them with love and gratitude. And that's not usually what we're feeling when we try to forgive. When we try to forgive, we usually still feel yucky from what they've done to us. We still kind of feel like, I've forgiven them, I'm not mean to them anymore, but I have to have all these boundaries for self-protection, and they still really hurt me, and I really hope that God still holds them accountable. So that's not the full process of forgiveness. That would be the beginning. You've tried. Good. That's great. Keep going, though. There's more. You will feel so much. And I'll tell you my miracle once we do it. I don't want to give you foresight and then make you wait on the step. I want you to do the step. And I want to tell you it works. And I'll tell you the miracle in a minute. So we have to detach, because otherwise the evidence of your trials is too much. I can't forgive because they abused me. I've already forgiven, but I'm still suffering. So I've tried so hard. I don't know what else to do. There's so much, right? Or I can't forgive them because they did this and they need to be held accountable. Like, what? You're trying to tell me to forgive the person who raped me. You're trying to tell me to forgive the person who killed so-and-so. Like, I can't do that. I know. So we're just going to share the loaves and fishes. So we're going to detach emotionally, because you can't do anything to really fix it. Your body goes into survival, and you're not going to be able to. You're going to hit resistance. So you are just going to walk around. You don't even have to specify the people. Maybe just the intent. That would be where the intention would be doable. Okay, so let's say the intention would be to forgive my ex and his family, and so you just kind of have that intention that they are in the crowd, but I can't even look at them because it makes me too mad, right? So that's okay. I'm going to try to move this away from the light so that it kind of adjusts to me a little bit better. Is that okay with the lighting? I don't know why the lighting isn't really balancing very well. I'll try to do it this way. Okay, so your body is going to resist it and fight it. And so this is why we have to do it as loaves and fishes. So just see yourself carrying this basket. My daughter knitted all of these loaves and fishes because it might be nasty to pick up, you know, a fish. In your mind's eye, it's still kind of gross. So just see yourself walking around the crowd. And like I said, again, you don't even really have to specify, this is my ex-husband, because that's pretty tough. But the idea, you know, I'm forgiving all the people at the school that have treated my children bad. I am forgiving my family for all their mortal weaknesses and limitations. I'm forgiving my ex and his whole family, and I can't even see them, honestly. But I can see myself carrying the loaves and fishes and walking around the crowd and sharing with the crowd. I can see that. I may not be able to see who the people are, but I know that it's my enemies. I know it's all the people that have wronged me. And I've got all these loaves and fishes, and God is the one that multiplies. When you give, you sacrifice something, and you do something that's really, really hard, God multiplies, and he's the one who frees you, okay? You're obeying. You're doing what you can. All that you can do is share the loaves and fishes. So you take your basket, you go around, and you just share the loaves and fishes. Okay? You're going to start noticing you're feeling very different. Things are changing within you. Okay? But we're not done. So once you feel like everybody in the crowd is taken care of, and if there's more that you can't seem like you might be in the crowd too, forgiving yourself. And if you have something to really be ashamed of, we're going to deal with that when we deal with Judas and section 3. So don't worry about that. If you're like, oh no, but I really sinned. Like I really, really, really did something super, 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 super bad that I can't forgive myself for. Like I cheated, or I had an abortion, or I don't know, I stole something, or I killed somebody, like big things that you feel very, very, very deeply ashamed of. We're going to deal with that in the Judas section. So do what you can with the loaves and fishes. If you can forgive yourself with the loaves and fishes and offering yourself the loaves and fishes too, please do. But it depends on how big it's affecting you, okay? So we've done the loaves and fishes. Now, Christ asks you, you guys, I have so many good visuals now. Aren't you proud of me? Christ is going to say, now we need to go part the sea, right? We were just at sea, right? We were just at the storm. So we're right next to the sea for this sermon. So we're going to take our staff of Moses. Okay, any staff that you can see in your mind. I think this is beautiful. We got it at the Renaissance Festival. So this was intentional for this video. I wanted something that felt right to me. This feels right to me. So you're just going to see yourself go to the water. You don't force the water to part, right? You're just going to the water with your staff and putting your staff in the water. That's all you do. So when you put your staff in the water parts, okay? Because God's the one who makes the water part, okay? Beautiful staff, part the sea. You're going to free the people that have been there for the sermon, and you're going to let them out. This was your heart. The sea was your heart. We just broke your heart to free the people, which means you've been holding them inside yourself, and it's been a survival mechanism, and it's been keeping God out. But we have to offer God a contrite spirit and a broken heart. So we just did the contrite spirit with the steps that we've done, and we just broke your heart. So here we go. Let's let them go. Let them out. And while you're walking through the sea with Christ, because Christ is there too, right? he was there giving the sermon. He's going through all of this with you. So you're going to walk through. And you may or may not need this step. The Good Samaritan parable, the idea is just that we've been through it all. I've been the one blessed with many gifts. I've been the bully. I've been the victim. I've been the one needing service. I've been the one offering service. I've been the teacher. I've been the student. I've been through it all. And there's a purpose to all of it. So you can kind of see that as you're walking through the sea. And honestly, just connect with Christ. You can learn. Ask anything you want to ask while you're doing this. Don't overcomplicate it and be like, I'm trying to see what he's trying to teach me. Well, if nothing's showing up right away, just keep going. There's more to the steps. You don't need to agonize over, why am I not getting more clarity? Why isn't God showing me all of this? You guys, this has taken me like a year. This is not like, oh, Melissa got all of this in one day. Oh, no. This was hard. So it's an opportunity just to talk to him if this is something that works for you. Do it if you feel like that's what you need to do. So once you get through the sea, okay, we're going to kind of stand on the other side. And the other side, it's like shifting your perspective, seeing things from a different side or from a different perspective. Christ had scars. He had a nasty wound in his hand and in his wrist and in his side. He has a lot of nasty wounds, and he could have healed them, but he didn't. He kept the scars. And so if you see yourself as an eagle, like Ezra's eagle, but you don't really need to see Ezra's eagle. It's just the reason why we do an eagle is because of that. And in the book of Ezra's, the eagle's feathers are all different lengths. Some of them are damaged. Some of them, like the eagle starts plucking out the feathers and trying to destroy itself. And there's more than one interpretation. It doesn't have to just be political. This can absolutely be the way that we see ourselves. If I'm an eagle and those feathers represent different things in my life, and the heads are like spirit, mind, and body arguing with each other all the time, or anything that is acting in opposition, if it's you in the middle and you've got two opposing sides, it doesn't really matter. The point is we have been wounded. And your feathers have been damaged. They've been broken. They've been bent. Life has been really, really hard. But you are more. You are more than just that feather. You are an eagle. You have wings. There's more to you than just a few damaged feathers. So God has been strengthening your arms, your wings, all this time. You didn't even know it. So we're going to ask Christ. We're just going to first be visible. Just be visible. Just open up your wings and just show him all of you. This is me. These are all of my mistakes. These are all of my trials. This is all of my wounds. This is all of me. Just being visible and letting him help you. Just letting him love you. And as he loves you and touches you, you can start to see those feathers differently. That they don't have to be, my daughter's working on making me a visual for the eagle. They don't have to be signs of weakness. They can be signs of strength. So just see yourself as an eagle, that if you're constantly just staring at that broken feather, you're not flying. But when Christ loves you and teaches you, and you can feel him, and you can now, because you have that broken heart and contrite spirit, you can let him love you and teach you and strengthen you. And you can start seeing things from a different perspective, that these are actually wings, not a bunch of broken feathers. They're wings. And you can turn and focus on the light rather than focusing on the dark. Don't focus on the bent and damaged feathers that are already bent and damaged. Focus on the light. When you focus on the light and you spread forth your wings, you can fly. So that's the end of section 2, but there's more. And I'm going to just bounce around a little bit. There's a step in section 3 where we're just going a little bit deeper with forgiveness. And I feel like that is important because we are working on your purpose. Like, let's work on increasing. Like, if we just did all the cleanup for section 1 and section 2, how do we actually do the healing? How do we actually live our potential? How do we actually have faith that doesn't backfire into an expectation? Well, let's keep going. So the the step, it's somewhere halfway in section 3. I don't remember what this one's called. So the step is to kind of recognize that, like with Peter, he denies Christ. Now, how often do we do that? When we are hurting or we feel alone or we're scared, that we don't necessarily let God into our hearts, right? So that's the same thing as denying Christ. We don't let God forgive us. That's the same thing as denying Christ. We don't forgive others. That's the same thing as denying Christ. There's a beautiful poem, and I don't have it memorized, but I was thinking it was Holocaust related, where it's saying that, you know, when the soldiers came for the Muslims, it didn't affect me because I'm not Muslim. When the soldiers came for the Jews, it didn't affect me because I'm not a Jew. When the soldiers came for this person, it didn't affect me because I'm not that person. But then they came to me, and there was nobody to stand with me. And so when we stand together, we're strong. But when we try to stand alone, we're weak. So it's together with God and together with each other. So you can't just force everybody else to be in the same space as you. And we don't want to just live in a fantasy world where it's just like, okay, I'm just going to stand holding hands with everybody on the planet, and now I feel connected. We don't want to just make something. We want to use something in the scriptures, and we want to use something that is going to create alignment with God. So see yourself standing with Peter. And I don't know if any of us really judge Peter. If you do, we can deal with that separate. But I think most of us just kind of look at it as, wow, I can't believe he did that. After he walked on water and he still did that. But I guess I could see how challenging and scary it would be. So I think our minds are probably in that direction. Like, I can see how challenging and scary that would be. Yeah, that would be really hard for me too. So just see yourself standing with him, like shoulder to shoulder. Put your arm around his shoulder and be like, I believe. We believe. I'm standing with you. Yes, I know Christ. And this is not necessarily standing against the adversary or standing against anybody in particular. It's just standing with Peter. And then the next one, this one is where we can deal with shame. If you have shame, if you have any real shame that you cannot forgive yourself for, it doesn't matter how intense or how minor that shame is. We're going to deal with this very unexpectedly by freeing Judas. Now, there is a scripture that says that if you have sinned against somebody else, you do need to make an effort to apologize or make things right in person in addition to the step. And I was like, oh, I don't want to do that for my one thing. I have one thing in my life that I have felt shame about. And I was like, oh, can't I just do this step without doing that? And I tried. And so finally I was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do that. And so I reached out to this person and sent a beautiful message, because I was like, I can't do this in person yet, but I can write this to you. And I did. And I felt so incredibly better. So it's an important part of the process too. So it's scary. So thank goodness that we can write it down and detach a little bit, that you don't have to go in person. That would be really scary, right? But if it's there's a reason for that feeling of shame. So the part with Judas, and that's going to offer you some beautiful freedom, is that Christ loved Judas. He loves all of us, and he's told us not to judge, to forgive everybody, to love everybody. So how would you feel if everybody knew your greatest sin, and if everybody blamed you for the death of Christ? Can you imagine what did he really do? He just took money for information. Is that big of a deal? Well, yeah, he committed suicide because he was so distraught over what he did. And so if Christ loved Judas, didn't he wash his feet and everything, at the Last Supper? he loved Judas. So if we're wanting to get closer to Christ, closer to God and the light of God, and you want to be forgiven, right? Doesn't it say in the scriptures that if you can't forgive others, that God can't forgive you? So if you want to feel forgiven, then go ahead and see yourself going to the tree where Judas hangs himself. Close your eyes and see yourself walking just kind of in the middle of nowhere, and there's a tree, and Judas is hanging the rope. And he's preparing it. Go over and just touch his feet, touch his legs, his hand, whatever you can reach, and just say, Judas, I forgive you. You are loved. You deserve love. You deserve forgiveness. The atonement includes you. The atonement includes you. We're not forgiving like Satan. This is Judas. Just Judas. Don't overcomplicate it. This is you. You are going to be freed of shame because we're going to forgive Judas. All you need to do is give him a pep talk, the way that you would your friend or your child just before they're going to commit suicide. Be like, you have something to live for. I know you made a mistake. The whole world for thousands of years knows about his mistake. They all know about his sin. And everybody blames him for the death of God. Can you imagine the weight? But can you also imagine what message we are sending to God by forgiving Judas? So we're going to just love on Judas. Can't change what he did, but we can give him love, and we can forgive him, and we can just say something nice, something supportive. You are valuable. You're loved. The atonement covers you. You're not lost. We're here for you. We are your brothers and sisters. It's okay. It's okay that you fell. It's okay that everything went wrong. It's okay that you made a mistake. We all do. So I forgive you and I love you. You are going to feel that shame gone for whatever you did. God just forgave you. And you can forgive yourself because you forgave Judas. Does that make sense? You feel the power of that self-forgiveness now by just forgiving Judas. It's beautiful. Okay, so the last step I want to do on this video before sharing with you my little miracle is love. So, there's 2 more steps. Love and the physical healing. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to miss that part. So, love. If we are going to be able to feel love for others, if we are going to be able to feel that pure love within us, we need to practice. And we are in a space where everything is clean, everything is beautiful, and I feel very tender and fragile. And it's like, then how do I have faith? How do I have godly expectations and hope and all of this? Because I'm feeling very fragile right now, right? So this is where the strength is going to come in. Yes, you are an eagle. And yes, this is becoming beautiful. Strength is not found by being better than everybody else or more powerful than everybody else or doing everything perfectly. Strength is humility to God, because God's the one that has the strength and the power and the beauty and the healing and the divine light and love. So we are likened in the scriptures as being the branch or the twig, and God is the vine. So that just means I'm nothing unless I'm attached to God. So I do have the light and the love within me. I am. All of that is already here. But only when I'm connected to God. Because when I was doing it alone at the beginning of this, when I was filled with expectations, this wasn't working. I was just a broken twig that couldn't seem to get anything to work, and I was angry and frustrated. But now I'm connected to God. Now I am I am a branch attached to the vine. I am now receiving life, nutrient, love, connection. I now exist. And I mean, you existed before. I mean, I exist in a space of light and love. Okay? So God's love is compared to the tree of life. Whether it's Lehi's vision or the story of Adam and Eve, the tree of life is God and his love. So God doesn't force somebody to eat his fruit. God does not restrain. If you're ready and able to see that fruit and feel that truth and be part of that fruit, he doesn't tell you you can't. The only difference is the darkness cannot comprehend the light. And so if you're in a space of darkness, you can't find that light. You can't find that tree of life. It would just be intention. I have the intention of doing it, but you can't actually see it or connect with it or have the full advantages of it. It would be like saying, I have the intention of eating, and then just kind of closing your eyes, and you might feel more satisfied. You might feel more less anxious to eat something in real life, but it still isn't the same as eating. So it's kind of the same idea that we're working on being able to actually be in God's presence. So we are getting closer and closer and closer. It's still not like Christ is going to pound at your door and come on in, but we are at a place now where we can start resonating that light, because it's one of the opportunities from the sacrament is to represent Christ, that I am taking his name upon myself. And so if I'm going to take his name upon myself, and if I'm going to honor creation and God's plan, and if I'm going to represent Christ, then that doesn't mean I am him. That doesn't mean I take his power, right? That's all the warnings that we don't want to do. But I can become one with him. God is the one with the power, and I am one with God. So it is an opportunity to just practice. Like, I am still more like a seed. So when a seed is in a hand, it's still just a seed, like the mustard seed. It doesn't change. It's complacent. But when the seed is tossed in the soil, then it is going to naturally be softened by the moisture and by the soil. And from being in that darkness, it's going to naturally want to reach for the light. And as it's reaching for the light, it's going to push against the soil and naturally become stronger. And that seed dies as a seed, but it doesn't actually die and decay, the seed just stops being a seed because it becomes a sprout. And and as that sprout is seeking the light, it will find it. It's just natural. It will. And as that seed continues to just stay in the ground where it was planted and seeking the light and just every single day growing, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, that sprout is still not the full tree of life. And that sprout is not really going to be able to become the tree of life all by itself off in the middle of the desert. You've got to be connected to God's tree. You're still part of the root system. You're still part of that orchard or that vineyard. Okay, like your roots are still growing into God's roots. Like that is where your strength, your nutrient, your food, your strength is still coming from. But you're also not just a leaf that doesn't really have a purpose on its own. You do have that opportunity to still grow and become all that you can become. So I'm also thinking in 1 Corinthians chapter 12, it talks about how, I am not my eyes, I am not my ears, I am not my head or my brain or my legs, but all of these pieces form me. All of these pieces together form me. And it's the same thing with Christ. We are all one with him. We are all part of God. And so it's hard to comprehend some of this stuff, but the best that we can do is to learn the understandings of the parables as we're ready for them. And we talk about this a lot in section 4, that there's different perspectives, and the whole point is to come together to understand God's language, that all of them, there are multiple understandings to different parables and scriptures, and they're all right. They're just taught for different reasons and different readiness, and they can all come together to form a beautiful picture. They don't have to be, this is the only truth, okay? So the tree of life. I see it as this beautiful glowing white tree. Now, when God helps us to feel safe in his presence, and if I'm going to do work on somebody as proxy, I need to be in this space of pure love and peace. I'm feeling peace from doing the steps we just finished. And now, like, I'm not panicking about the blood pressure. I'm not panicking about the stress in my big, massive to-do list. I'm just feeling peaceful. And now I need to feel that love. So if I'm going to open up and do proxy work, or if I'm going to help my kids to be more calm because they're stressing out and they're going bonkers and fighting with each other, I need to be in a space of light and love. And so feeling love for somebody, if I'm trying to feel love for somebody who is acting out, it's really hard. If I'm trying to feel love for somebody who is rejecting my love, it's really hard. So love isn't about something you do for somebody else. Love starts with me, how I feel. It is me. I am love. I am love. So when we do this, God's love is compared to being a tree, like the tree of life, this beautiful glowing white tree. So I can be a tree. I'm not a full-grown tree yet, but I can see myself as a tree. It'd be like a child knowing I'm going to one day grow up. So I'm going to learn how to be a nurse. I'm going to learn how to be independent. Like, I'm going to reach for that goal. And so I'm going to see myself in that way. Like, if you want to lose weight, you got to eat and exercise and treat yourself the way you would if you were already thin. So it's the same idea. If I want to be love, I need to see myself as the tree. So I practice this with my son, and my son is very sensitive because he has Down syndrome and hearing impairment, and he's on the autism spectrum level 3. And so he's very, very pure and innocent, and he responds to anything that isn't pure light and love. And so if I'm even just a little bit off that day, he's like OCD, and he's like difficult. And I was like, I can't feel love for him. And I love him. I'm taking care of him. But because he's making life so difficult, I can't feel that pure space of peace and light and love. And so I was like praying and just bawling my eyes out to God. Like, if I can't even do this with the most lovable human on the planet, how am I going to love my enemy? And that's when God was like, well, how is my love compared? Well, it's the tree of life. Can you be a tree? Yes, I can be a tree. A tree is just stable. A tree is just there. A tree doesn't force its fruit. A tree doesn't need your fruit. A tree doesn't force light. A tree just is. The tree just is. So the tree is reaching towards the light of the sun and needs the light of the sun to survive. The tree is rooted in the ground and needs that rooted system to survive. And then the tree just is. So just close your eyes and just be a tree. See yourself as the tree of life, just this glowing white tree of love. And this is when you're going to feel it. This feels like strength and light and love like you've never felt ever. If you try to do this without doing all of the previous steps, it's very minimal. You can feel a little itty bitty glimmer, but when you do this after doing all the steps we just completed, this feels like a miracle. So I think I've told you guys before, I have 2 people in the world that terrify me and 1 person that I feel ashamed around. And so I have been practicing these steps, and I had just done this whole I am a tree, and I was receiving revelation like no other. Like the scriptures say, like the darkness cannot comprehend the light. And so now when I'm in a space of light and I read the scriptures, everything is making sense. Everything is clear. It is beautiful and glorious. And I'm like, so if you just go about your daily life, it might be harder to maintain this. It will be harder to maintain this. But if you use this as an opportunity to commune with God in your thoughts a lot. So as you go about your busy day, doing a million things, talk to God a lot. Reflect on scriptures. Maybe turn on the scriptures on your phone and listen. And just put God first. Try to put him first as best. I can't just sit and study. That doesn't ever work for me. But I can listen while I'm driving. So turn it on your phone. Don't listen to the radio. Turn on like scriptures on your phone. So the more that you are showing God that you're choosing God first, the more that you can maintain this light, because it's helping you with your thoughts, because you're keeping your thoughts attuned with God. You're learning, you're growing, it's like you're focusing on the light rather than focusing on the dark. You're focusing on the light. So the more that you can implement that into your daily life, the more that you can stay in this space and you can maintain it, and you want it to grow. So you can't take this power upon yourself when you aren't ready to handle it. It's too much. That's why it's God. It's why, like the 10 virgins, it's a lantern. It's not it's not meant to go inside you. You're supposed to keep it as a lantern with you. And similar to how it's Christ and it's Heavenly Father, and we can be one with them, but it is, I am still the branch and they are still the vine. So we do need to keep that part kind of organized in your brain, that we don't just go off and detach and maintain it, because it's going to get smaller and dimmer and dimmer. And then when you try to force it, it's going to be very frustrating. You can go back through the steps and get back to that space as many times as you want to. However, remaining in that space helps when you are communing with God in your thoughts as often as you possibly can. And so I'm always thinking of things, like thinking of the creation story, or thinking of different things that are happening and different ways that I can understand it, and different perspectives. And when I'm thinking about it for somebody else, when I'm doing it with a client, it seems to be a fantastic way for me to be focusing on other people, and rather than just focusing on all the stuff in my life. And so it keeps me in a better space of light. So like if there is a tornado outside, being in that space of like being in the middle of that storm. But when you're in the middle of that storm and you throw your paddles overboard, you might be able to just get right back into this space. I am a tree. Okay? You're in the middle of that storm. I am a tree. I just choose to be one with God. Choose to be part of the light, not part of the problem, not part of the darkness, not just trying to get rid of the darkness. I'm turning on the light. When I turn on that light is shared with anybody who can see it and wants to be part of it. That light is free to anybody. Not everybody can see that light or feel that light. But I had this beautiful experience where I was in that space of light, and I went to the temple, and I was asking questions like, what in the world do the endowments really mean? And I'm like receiving all this clarity, and I'm like, oh my goodness. I had no idea. I want to tell everybody, right? So I'm there and I'm receiving all of this information, and it's all making perfect clarity sense. And at the very beginning of the session, my ex-husband's dad, who is one of those two people that I said I'm terrified of being in their presence, he walks into the session and sits down. And it never changed. My light and love wasn't affected even 1%. I didn't even have to try. I was like, wait, I don't even remember forgiving him. I don't even remember sharing the loaves and fishes with him. It was just that family, because I couldn't manage him directly. And I wasn't even intending on controlling my thoughts or trying to not let him bring me down. None of that had to happen. I was just a tree. And as I was a tree, I was able to continue receiving all the information that I wanted to receive at the temple that day. And my ex-mother-in-law also walked in, and she doesn't terrify me, but she never recognized me. I told her the next week, I actually went up to her because they were at the exact same time for a couple of weeks in a row. So we ran into each other a couple of times, and I went up to her and I actually touched her arm and I said, it's so good to see you. And I wouldn't have said that the first day, but I was ready the next week. And she goes, I heard you were here. I never saw you. And I'm like, she walked past me 3 or 4 times and sat directly across from me in the celestial room. She never actually, she wasn't just denying it like, oh, I never saw you. I'm sorry I didn't say hello. Like, no, she literally never saw me because I was pure love. I don't even know what she saw. I don't know. Isn't that amazing? Total miracle. So I'm standing there though, and my ex-father-in-law, I wasn't feeling terrified. I wasn't even trying to overcome anything. I was just pure light connected to God. And it was so strong and so solid. And so when it was time to go up to the veil, an old friend of mine who is kind of like one of those stable people in my life, walked in and was one of the veil workers. And that for me just felt like safety, right? Like safety. And then I got called up to stand shoulder to shoulder with my ex-father-in-law. Like, it was a packed room, so it was shoulder to shoulder. What are the odds, right? Of all the possible combinations of locations where I would have been put and the timing, I was put at the exact same time he went up, like literally same time and everything. We were answering the questions in unison. And then when I walked into the celestial room, he had gone in before me. And I looked at him and I smiled, because God doesn't force himself on us. So I didn't want to force myself on him, shake his hand, say something. And I was not sure if I was ready to be rejected, because I just don't know where he is and what he might do if I did something like that. And I just don't know how I could handle. I just don't feel stable enough to handle that yet. And so instead I just smiled. And he smiled back. This man doesn't smile. I don't think I've seen him smile in 20 some years. And he smiled. And I was like, oh my goodness. That's the most amazing miracle ever. So this space of love, no joke, how beautiful it is. And how easy is it to love one another when you're just love. When you're love and you're around somebody, they feel it. They feel safe around you. They open up to you. They connect with you. You start seeing miracles everywhere because people are feeling that peace. They want to feel that peace. Okay? And so as you are just shining your light and it is changing you, then when war and stuff is going on outside your door, you're still able to get into this space. Even when war affects you or your family directly, you can still be a tree. And that's why these are written out. And that's why you're going to want the Joy book when it's published. Because when tribulations and war hits, you need a to-do list. You'll need it written because you'll be like, oh my goodness, I don't know what to do to get back into that space. I remember how good it felt. But now that this happened, I'm never going to feel that again. And it's like, oh yes, that's why there's a to-do list. Just follow the steps and you'll get right back there. That's what it's designed to do. And it works. So can you deal with whoever's barking, please? Whoever's out there? So let's say now, this is where, let's say the person that you're helping still has issues with their heart. Okay, we've dealt with all the emotional stuff. We've dealt with all the light. We are created out of light. So if you go back to the creation story, God uses the sound and the vibrations of voice to create movement, which causes the water to hit the soil, which causes the minerals, the salts, the minerals to bounce up and connect and become one with the water and kind of form a mist, which creates color like a rainbow and a smell. And that is what man is formed out of. So we are one with all of that, and including like God, the voice of God. Like it is all in love. Like it was the creations out of love and light. So all of that is you. So when there's an organ that has been hardened because of pain and trials, and we just broke that heart, we just brought that light in, we just started feeling God in a fuller, richer capacity than what we have previously. Now, light is coming back because your body still has the original design, but it's the darkness that was hurting you. Just removing the darkness, like we have done with energy work for a long time, isn't getting rid of darkness, but turning on the light is. It's like being in a dark room and turning on a light. So we're turning on the light. This love is light. This love is radiating from within you. So if we're now working on somebody else, right? If you're working on you, just be in this space for a while. Just be connected to God. What is the intention? Is the intention to stop suffering and to get rid of the issues and blah, 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 blah? Then we're still not in cooperation. We are in a space of saying, God, I don't know the purpose. I don't know why this is happening. I don't know what amazing miracle you're working. I'm on your team though. So let's do it together. Whatever you ask of me, I will do. And I'm grateful to feel and experience anything and everything. This is harmony. That's harmony. Harmony with one another because you're choosing to be love. Harmony, we're forgiving, we're loving ourselves, we're cooperating with God. This is harmony with creation. The cells of your body work on cellular memory. So they still have the memory of the darkness. So bringing in the light, we can reflect God. God is safe, okay? We can reflect God, and we can choose due to inspiration. I feel inspired by his light and his love and his organization and the way that he functions and does things. I want to do things his way. Not my way. I've already tried my way for 45 years and it hasn't worked. So I want to do it God's way. God's way is obviously the right way. So if I'm doing this for somebody else versus doing it for me, though, a sciencey guy, it's like quantum physics. They talk about how that mineral and water combination of us is like being a battery. It's like electricity. And so it is like this living energy. Electricity, though, to me still feels unattainable. So it's really using that light and that love and sharing it. So I will see myself, let's say, working on this other person's heart, right? Or maybe it's their adrenal glands because stress is really the problem, or it's both. The hormones, the adrenals, the heart, like all of it is all interconnected, the whole body. But let's make sure that the parts that we're struggling the most are receiving the health. And so if I'm doing this as proxy, I'm feeling this with the other person. I may be seeing myself facing them, or I may see myself as them. Whatever helps you and however you see it is perfect. But we are going to realize, like, if you just think, oh, well, I've got all this power that I'm just gonna share with this person, like we're not doing it right. We're still part of like this I don't want to say God network. That doesn't feel right. But this is still God. And this is me just learning and practicing and becoming one with God. And I'm using this as an opportunity because this other person, anybody for that matter, including me, is not ready to see God, to touch God. But we can see each other. And we can help those that are a little bit lower than us, whereas people who are a little bit above us can help us. So if somebody else has more light than you, or if you have more light than somebody else, it's an opportunity to share and to work towards having more light. Okay? So as we do this more light, I can see myself sharing my light and touching the other person's heart or adrenals and thyroid, and just letting creation do its magic. Get your head out of it. You're not making anything happen. This isn't about me doing something. This is just about sharing and feeling. This is God's miracle. This is something God is offering to the other person. I'm not forcing anything. In fact, the more my brain gets involved, the more that I'm limiting God's miracle. But I don't know what the other person really needs. They may not need that blood pressure fixed. Maybe the blood pressure is there for another reason. But what they do need is to feel loved. They need to feel that energy flowing. They need to feel life. They need to have life moving throughout their body. They do need light to exist, for that body to exist and to work at peak capacity and to heal in the way that God wants to help them to heal, whatever that looks like. And we are just cooperating. We are like a vessel sharing with whomever God is asking us to share with, but only when that person reaches out and comes to you as a tree asking for that assistance. And this is where I am seeing miracles. I am seeing somebody who said that she had paralysis. Half her body was fully paralyzed from a stroke, and she's not paralyzed anymore. I went and saw her a couple of days ago. Oh my goodness. She's amazing. So I do believe that these steps are going to just keep increasing, and I'm learning more on the miracle step and the unification step right now. So it might improve, and I might have more to share with you as it comes. And I just want to remind you to take a look at the manual online, and I'm improving and adding to it all the time, and trying to, the more that I practice it, the more I understand it, and the more that I'm able to express it better, because God's telling me to write it down, and I don't fully comprehend everything. But as I practice it, it starts to become more and more clear. And the more that I'm in this space of light and love, the more that I'm able to comprehend it, and then I'm able to clarify it and translate it in a way that makes sense and is attainable for everybody else. So that's my goal. So I'm going to let you go, so this video is not too unbearingly long, and I just want to inspire you and encourage you to keep trying and reach out for help. It's okay. If these steps are like really hard, just reach out for help. That's why I'm still doing sessions. I'm doing them all the time. And whatever direction it is that you might need a session for, it's okay if you're like, these steps are too hard. Okay, I can help you, and we can do this together. And whether it is me coaching and teaching you to do it for somebody else, or whether it's doing it for yourself, or if there's something you've just been really stuck on, like that's what we do with energy work, is we help each other, we teach each other, we're assisting each other, and we all have different gifts and talents. So if right here you are at this space and you're like, oh, I've got these amazing things that I do, this might be the opportunity to practice them, but be aware that we have to stay in alignment with God's plan. So if it's God's will, like with my son's hearing loss, God's will was not for him to hear. God's will is for me to learn a higher form of communication through Zach, and for that love communication to also keep him safe, so that it does not get, so his life is not shortened due to either elopement or whatever else might possibly happen. And so that is a gift. So the goal instead is to help him to understand sign language, help him to understand other ways to communicate, and letting him teach me. So I'm teaching him my language, and he can teach me his language. And connecting, that's the goal. And helping him to feel understood and to feel heard. And that way I'm working with God's plan and making progress. And he's actually making massive leaps and bounds of progress now. And so when you are doing that, make sure that and if you're like, but I don't understand the purpose, like I'm having such a hard time. Okay, that's okay. Don't like beat yourself up because it's hard and being like, I have to figure out something that doesn't make any sense. Your purpose in life, in a general broad sense for everybody, would be, okay, for me, I've been abused, I've lost children, I've been sick. I've had all of those that are massive stories, okay? And I've had a big sin that I've sinned. So these are all massive, long, intense stories. None of them are simple little summaries, okay? But these have become part of who I am. It's strengthened me. It's taught me compassion, humility, personal development. I understand people differently. So if the bigger picture is, we are in the generation where Christ is going to return. So you can use that understanding that you've developed already as a way to connect with others. So when you are a tree and somebody else is suffering in a way that you've suffered, you are now the pro. You are now the master student who has your doctorate's degree in overcoming abuse. You have a doctorate's degree in losing children, or a doctorate's degree in divorce. Like, you are now capable of supporting, but doing it in God's way. God doesn't come up to us and just say, okay, here's what you got to go do. Go do this, 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 and then you'll feel better. That's not how God does it. God loves. So he approaches us with love and understanding. And there's a story in section 3 about if you are on a porch and your legs are all tied up and you're wet and cold and you're miserable and you're just laying there and suffering, and I'm looking at you and I'm like, so just stand up. Your legs aren't really bound because Christ has already freed you from those bindings. All you gotta do is unwrap them. It's really just your mind that thinks that you're stuck. So just stand up and walk into the light. The sun will warm you up. It'll dry you off. And you don't have to be sitting on the porch all alone feeling lost, because all you got to do is get up and walk into the light. Like, it sounds simple, but that's not what Christ does. He doesn't come over and just tell us what we should do differently. He comes and he lays down with us. And he listens and he's like, that's hard. That's really scary and that's really hard. You know, you're not alone. I love you and I'm here. And then that love inspires you, helps you to feel safe, helps you to want more of that light and that love. And then as you are ready, as you're tied up on that porch, you're like, you know what? I don't really want to be on this porch anymore. And he's like, okay, let me help you up. And then you're like, I don't really want to be tied up anymore. Okay, well, let's work through the atonement together. And then you're like, I don't really want to be in the dark anymore. He doesn't say, let's just remove the dark. He says, let's go stand in the sun. So that is how we need to love each other. Patiently, gently, carefully. When somebody's suffering and you're mourning with somebody who's mourning, you don't go over there and just say, it's okay, families are forever, you'll be reunited. You go over there and you cry with them. And you just be a tree. Just be love. That's what they need. They just need to feel loved. You can't fix it, but you can love. So be that person. This is your calling. This is your opportunity. And yes, you can develop your spiritual gifts. Yes, you can have much more fine-tuned missions and callings. You can definitely have more. But that is your beautiful opportunity to help this orchard come together. God has been refining this vineyard like the olive branches. He has been refining this vineyard for a long time. And it is time for us all to come together, to be in a space where we can all live in peace with Christ. And it's a unity. It's about all of us doing this together. And it is not forced. It is not, hey, this person is falling behind. What am I going to do to make sure that they, step it up and live up to their potential? And it's like, you love them because that's what God did with you. So we don't just love them and tolerate their evil. We choose love. Like Christ said when he said, turn the other cheek. If somebody's being violent, you don't let it affect you because you're just a tree. Turning the other cheek is not, I'll just let them keep beating you up. It's, I'm a tree. I'm not going to react. There's a scripture that says, agree with thine adversary quickly and move on. And I think that basically just means if somebody's slapping you and they're trying to get a rise, they're trying to get you to be like, stop, that hurts, stop hurting me, stop beating me up, and then, stop it, right? You just lost your way. You just lost the light. You just lost the love. You just fell. And God's like, don't even go near that fruit. You'll fall. Don't even go near it. Don't go near anything of the adversary because it will take you. Just be a tree. Just focus on being a tree. And if somebody slaps you, just turn the other cheek and walk away quickly. Agree with thine adversary quickly. If somebody's beating you up, you don't have to take it. Just okay and walk away. So if somebody comes up and they're like, it's because you voted for Trump that the whole world is falling apart. Be like, no. It's this and this and no, this and this. Like, no, you just fell. Somebody's like, it's all your fault because of Trump. They're upset because they're hurting. They're upset because they're suffering. The solution isn't to argue with them and tell them they're wrong. The solution isn't for something different political to change. The solution is for them to find God. The answer is always God. What they need is God. But telling them, hey, you need God isn't going to work. They're not going to listen. But you are a tree. You're just choosing to be a tree. And when they stop yelling and fighting and arguing, and they choose with their agency, because otherwise you got to walk away. Set those boundaries and just walk away. Be like, agree with your adversary quickly. Okay, you're right, and just leave. Okay, don't even get into it. But if they then, you felt very peaceful and very loving, can you help me to feel peaceful and loving? Yes, I would love to. Or they stop fighting and they're like, I'm sorry, that was really cruel and harsh. I've been upset and I've been really hungry and my family's dying and we're starving to death and we can't pay the bills and we're living on the street. And you're like, oh, can I help you? I would love to help. And they're like, yes, please. Share the loaves and fishes. Go and share whatever you have and just do anything that God asks you to do. Because when you're a tree, you can feel the direction that God would like you to offer. Because this person might need food. They might need love. They might need healing. They might need something else. You don't know what they need. They're going to tell you what they think they need. But it's their expectation. They're speaking with their expectation. They're not speaking in the way that God is going to speak to your heart. So listen. Let God be the one to tell you what that person needs and what God's plan is. And not in such a way of, God's not telling me to help you to heal. You're supposed to suffer and die. And it's like, no, please don't say that either. So make sure that you always stay in a space of love. Ollie! All right, I am going to wrap up. I just want to send you guys love, and you're doing a great job.